Okay, welcome back. So getting a little bit deeper into the delay effect in particular. Let me simplify things a little bit here. So I'm going to go to View, I'm going to uncheck Master Track, and I'm going to, this is important, make sure that you remove the effect from here. And the way I'm doing it is I'm pressing Option while I'm clicking on Effects. And now I will also delete this track. I only need one, and I'm going to expand a little bit. Okay, so now we have our same old item, little sample with my daughter saying "and it has arms," and we're going to go back and add a delay, and we're going to tweak with the delay parameters a little bit. So again, this is just
and it has arms.
This. There's nothing.
And it has arms.
Okay, so now I'm going to click on Effects. I'm going to add delay, and this time we're going to pause a second here, and we're going to look at these parameters. So we have up here we have length in time, and then here we have length musical. So this indicates how soon after the initial sound will you hear a repetition. So if I play it now, so there's two ways that you can go about it. You can either specify this in terms of the milliseconds, so that's in time. So you can say I want it to be 1 second later. So you would say 1000 milliseconds, okay? And what that will do is it will, well, exactly what it sounds like. So it'll play a sound, and then after 1 second, it'll repeat, okay? You could do that there's a limit, but I think you can actually go in and add whatever number. But it goes up to 10,000, which is 10 seconds, which is quite a bit of time. Okay, so we're actually gonna let's stick with the musical one. So that's, you can also do it in musical terms, which is in this case eighth notes, and so that of course will be related based on the tempo. So if the tempo changes, so does this. Okay, so let's say you wanted to have this after a 1/4 note, so you could say after 2/8 notes. Okay, so the thing about this is that you don't get to be as specific, whereas with time you can make up for some of the limitations of this, because you may not want the delay to be at the eighth note level. You may want it to be I don't know, at the you want it to be like a swung note or something like that. You could do that by doing a little bit of math based on the tempo you're in, and then determining how many milliseconds that would be. Okay, so that's one parameter. So in this case, if I put 2, that means that if this is beat 1 and that's beat, let's see, this is beat, sorry, measure 1, beat 1, measure 1, beat 2. This means that after 2/8 notes, so after 1/4 note, the delay will start. So it basically won't actually wait for it to end. It'll start right when it's in the middle. Okay, so let's take a listen.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
Okay.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
Now we could have, again, if we go to 4, it'll play through the whole thing, and then it'll repeat.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
Okay, so you can create basically a rhythm of some kind in that way. Now you've noticed, of course, that it only repeats one time. You can change that. You create kind of like a bouncing ball effect where it repeats and then it repeats and then it repeats and then it repeats and then it keeps getting quieter by changing the feedback. So the feedback, you can imagine something like this, where the sound is sent to a buffer, and then it's delayed, and then it's sent back into the input, and it does like a loop. It goes in and out, in and out, in and out, and eventually it gets quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. So in this case, we can do. So let's just say, let's leave it at 20. I don't know. Let's try 22 dB, minus 22 dB, and here it goes.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
Right, so you heard a little bit of an echo, but we can increase that.
And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has arms.
So it basically creates a continuous kind of a series of delays, and you can, in some delays, you could probably set this to a very specific time, etc. But in this case, we're saying play the delay after 2/4 notes, and then repeat it a bunch of times, and then you can change how many that is based on the feedback. Now on top of that, you can add a filter. filtering effect. And we didn't talk about filter yet, but we will. But just to, you can play around with these parameters and see what they do for you. But let's suffice it to say, this will affect kind of the sound, the timbre of the sound. Okay, so let's listen to it without anything.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
Okay, so you see that the sound of the delayed voice is the same as the original, but if you change this, this will become it'll change the timbre. Take a listen.
And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has arms.
Lower a little bit more.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
It becomes kind of muffled.
And it has arms. And it has arms.
And if you do the same thing with the high pass,
and it has arms.
That's a little bit more noticeable. One more time.
And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has arms.
All right. It's kind of like an, I don't know, telephone effect. Okay, and then you can change the resolution. You can change the stereo width. The other thing that we're interested in, just for fun, we'll look at this feature, which is the add tap feature. So you can think of what we are hearing now as a single tap. It's like a single delay. Now you can change the direction it comes from. Then this is fixed, so I can make it all the way to the left. Okay.
And it has arms.
Okay, let's get rid of this actually.
And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has
okay, so it's only coming out of the left. And then now, well, what if I wanted to come out of the left and then come out of the right and then the left and then the right? You can't really do it using only one, but you can do it by adding a separate tab. So when I press add tab, you now have two tabs here. One is the first one we just added, and the second one, it keeps all the parameters the same. What we could do is we could switch it to go to the right. And that's fine, except that won't be as effective. What we also want to do is change this to some other note value so that it comes out of the right, and then we hear it as coming out of the right clearly, distinctively, and then we hear the other one coming out of the left. So they're offset. Okay, so let's see how that works.
And it has arms. And it has arms. And it has arms.
You see? So that's pretty cool. That's a very cool effect and kind of a classic effect with delays. So it comes out of the right, out of the left, out of the right, out of the left. And you can also then, if you want to change the timbre of one side only.
And it has arms.
All right. So it's, you could do some pretty interesting things there. Okay, very good. So that's it for the delay, and I'll see you in the next video.